All right, thank you for joining us. We're going to be discussing something real quick. It is the in-home presentation. What I like to tell folks is what we provide is the skeleton of what we do of the presentation. We don't have a huge, long, drawn-out presentation that takes 3 hours or anything like that, a mandatory, 13-page flip book. What we do is we provide the skeleton, the bones of the presentation, and you have to be the meat, you have to be the guts, you have to be the heart, the brain, and the personality of the presentation. That's just what it has to take. You have to still bring something to the table. It's not just a presentation where you just follow something and that's it. No, you still have to bring the personality, the know-how, the desire, the passion to really go in there, to have a world-class presentation. I know you hear that a lot, but 3 things that are important in this business. Your attitude has got to be positive. It's got to be, looking forward to having a successful day or week or, presentation every single time. Even if you're having a bad day, before you go into that house, put on a big old smile, even if it's fake. And, during those bad days, even just go in there, give it the best, be the guts, be the heart. But today what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go over the bones of a presentation, the skeleton, if you will. And the first part is setting up your sales binder. There's just a few pages that you want to have in order before you go into a home. You can go to the NASB training website. I'm going to go to it real quick. Hopefully you can see my screen. All right, perfect. I know there may be a delay with how the computer's going in my voice, so if you hear me kind of pause sometimes, that is why. Anyhow, so if you go to the training website, NorthAmericanFinalExpense.com or NASBtraining.com, get the username and password from your manager. But now that you're here, basically you go to the sales binder. So this is the first step. Set up your sales binder. Number 2, obviously get through with your door approach, and then obviously where you're at now, the world-class presentation. So first step, never skip a step, guys. Whether it's setting up your binder or whatever it is, never skip a step. So obviously basic instructions on how to set the binder in the correct order. Here's a quick video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be going through my presentation live with you. And so I'm not going to be showing you the flip book at the same time. I'm going to show it to you right now, and then you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. So any binder will work, guys. It doesn't matter. Always have delivery notices on hand when you're going to these homes. If you're going to door knock, you have to have delivery notices on hand. State license, Better Business Bureau, picture of your family, of a hobby, something that's going to break the ice with the customer, script save card, term insurance example is very important, universal life example, whole life example, and then that's basically it. Then from there it's applications, brochures, and everything like that. So again, state license, BBB, photo of your family, something about you, prescription card, and then the samples of the different insurance policies you're going to be educating these people about. And again, all these forms are right here on this page. As you can see, everything is right here, and it's easy to print. Okay? With that being said, hopefully your binder is set up correctly. We're going to go ahead and get into the presentation. This is the presentation layout. The reason I came up with this layout is after field training hundreds of agents, I realized how hard it was for them to just memorize the presentation after watching me do it a few times. And so this right here is kind of training wheels. This is going to help you memorize your presentation. A disclosure right from the beginning that I have to say is this is not a script. This is not something where you just keep your head down the whole time and read through this. That's not what this is. This is more of a piece that helps flow with the conversation, helps keep you on track. and it's going to help prevent objections, okay? If you say everything right, the number of objections you're going to get is going to go down to almost zero. Top producers don't get objections, okay? If you're getting a lot of objections, it's because the presentation is not being done correctly. So, with that being said, you can kind of imagine me going through my binder. This is going to take a little bit longer than it does in a typical interview, in a typical presentation, just because I'm going to stop and go over it with you as well. Another thing, I'm going to be talking a little bit slower. Like I said before, this is the bones, but you have to be the personality. When I'm visiting with the person, I'm almost an actor, okay? Again, whether I'm having a great day or not so great day, you know, my enthusiasm is to the roof when I'm doing these presentations. My personality is as bright as it can possibly be. I'm having a blast. I'm having fun. But at the same time, I'm educating. So although I'm having fun with the person and I'm sincere with them, I'm still very serious, and I'm still someone to be taken serious. I'm still educating them. Sometimes you have to be the lovable grandson. Sometimes you have to appear as the doctor or the teacher. So we do a little bit of both of that. So anyhow, again, everything we do is trying to prevent objection. So you kind of see these lines, but you kind of read this like a book. You basically going to be going down this, over here to this side, down this, over here, okay, and just kind of going through this like a book is basically what we do. So anyhow, I'm going to be writing on my computer screen. This is something that you actually print out. You can print it below this video on the website. Print this thing out and actually fill this out in the home. So I'll be kind of going through it. We'll see how it goes. So, hey, Ms. Johnson, like I said, I'm the benefits coordinator, okay? One thing I definitely want you to understand, Ms. Johnson, is I typically work with people and help people 50 to 85 years old. I can't help anybody from brand new babies to 90 years old, but most of the folks I help are 50 to 85. And one thing that most of them have in common, they're usually on a fixed income. Okay, they're usually on Social Security, disability. So I'm here to talk to you about some affordable options, some of the basic needs, and that's just what I do. And if we partner today, I'm your family's agent for life. Everything that we do is going to run through me. I'm going to represent you. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to be that voice for you. In this world of so many questions that you're going to have, I'm the guy to go to, okay? First thing I want to show you, this is my state license. You know, make sure anytime someone comes and visit you to show you their state license. Here's a picture of our company and Better Business Bureau. I'm not sure if you've heard of Business Bureau. You have heard of them? Okay, well, I want to let you know that we do have an A rating with the BBB, and we understand that one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch, okay? And the state of Texas does trust me. They actually gave me a license and trust me to come out here and be able to help folks like yourselves. So look at this. I want to show you the picture of my family right here. Look at these guys. This is my pride and joy. The reason I show you this is I want you to understand I'm not just an insurance sales guy. I'm not just a salesman that's just at your house right now. This is my family. I love them. This is why I do what I do. And at the same time, the reason I'm here is just like I love my family and want to protect them. You probably love your family and you want to make sure they're taken care of as well, right? Okay. So that's the introduction. Okay, guys. As you're saying that, you're nodding your head. You have motion with your arms and your head, and you're nodding and you're persuasively talking. When you say I typically help people 50 to 85, they're usually on a pretty fixed income. They're usually on a tight budget, and you're kind of nodding your head and kind of smiling at them. And typically they say, "Yep, that's me. That's exactly right." The reason we say that, okay, is because the number one objection is I can't afford it, or I don't have money, or I'm on a fixed income. So I'm the first one to bring it up in the home. If they ever repeat it in the house, I'm going to say, absolutely, you're on a fixed income. Most of the people I work with are on a fixed income, and I'm here to design a program that's affordable for you. Again, those are the people I help, are people on fixed income. So anyhow, that's kind of that. And then you flip the page, there's a prescription discount card. Okay, and you kind of sit back. Okay, this paper right here that I have is kind of sitting on the table. My binder's kind of right next to it. Okay, kind of sit back, put your pen down. This is conversation. Again, you don't just have your head down reading this and putting marks. You're actually having a conversation with it. Ms. Johnson, tell me about your prescriptions. How are you doing with that? Are you getting some help? All right, why don't you go grab those for me real fast? Let's see what I can do to help you out. Oh, take your time. Go grab your prescriptions. Get the prescriptions on the table, okay? Make sure that you're underwriting the medications in the home. Once they get them on the table, you can just leave them there. Now you can start to review them right there, but I don't. My presentation is educate first, review second. Again, educate first, review second. So I'm going to go through this whole education process before I really start to crunch them down on trying to sell it to them, because I want them to understand why I do what I do. So I educate first, review second. So now let me ask all these prescriptions right here. Are you getting some help with those? Are you? You only pay $2 per prescription? That's amazing. Well, that's great. Well, good for you. A lot of people we visit, they're already taken care of, but I still have this prescription discount card here, and believe it or not, I'm allowed to give this free prescription discount card to 3 of your family members or friends. So anybody that you know that doesn't have health insurance or prescription coverage, I can give it to 3 of them. Again, it's 100%. It's free. It saves 50 to 75% on their medications, 40% on frames and lenses on glasses. This is something that you may not want to pass up. But make sure before I leave that I get a few names from you, and I'll bring this card to their house absolutely free. Okay? All right, perfect. The next thing is, how are you doing as far as Social Security income? Are you doing all right there? Are you getting Social Security disability? You are great. Now, let me ask you, are they direct depositing that to your bank account like a Wells Fargo or a Chase or a Security? Oh, Chase Bank? Perfect. All right, great. The reason I'm asking that, I'm not trying to be nosy at all, Ms. Johnson, is March 1st, you may not know this, March 1st, 2013, the Department of Treasury changed the rules. Instead of sending out paper checks to some folks, they require a direct deposit. I just wanted to make sure you didn't get left out. You're good? Perfect. All right. Oh, great. The reason you're doing that, you want to find out how they're going to pay, right? How are they going to pay? All right. Next thing, the last thing I have to take care of, Ms. Johnson, this is something that's just very, very, very important to me, and I'm sure it's important to you as well, is a senior benefit. Unfortunately, a lot of folks aren't taken care of, but what this has to do with is life insurance, funeral insurance, income replacement, how much are you paying for your life insurance? And you put your head down, okay? How much are you paying for your life insurance? You put your head down as if they have it, and they say, oh, I don't have anything right now. And you kind of look at them like surprised. Okay, that's probably why you sent this card in. Let's go ahead and get this taken care of. Now, before we do that, okay, I'm going to do a little something called Insurance 101. My goal today, Ms. Johnson, is to make sure that you understand what options you have to make sure your family's protected. So real quick, I'm going to go over the 4 main types of insurance. This is where in your sales binder, you have an example of a term policy, example of a universal life, example of whole life in your binder. You're actually going to show the person an example of a term policy so they understand how bad it is, okay, for their age. I understand term has its place, but for these folks, it's a time bomb, okay? So here's an example of a term policy. You can see right here in the top right corner, and at this point, I'm actually showing her a picture of the term policy. You can see in the top right corner, it says it goes to age 95, but look what this person did. For 20 years, they paid about $80 a month. And when they turned 76, it went from $80 a month to $1,800 a month. Now, on a fixed income, what do you think that person had to do when their monthly payment went from $80 a month to $1,800? They had to cancel it, right? Exactly. Term insurance is like milk, bread, and cheese. Eventually, if you don't use it or die, right, you're going to have to throw it out. Okay? It always increases in price, and 97.1% of the time, it doesn't pay out. If I were to sell you a car today, and I told you there's a 97% chance it's not going to start when you want it to, you probably wouldn't buy it from me. It's the same thing with term. There's a 97.1% chance that you're just donating money to these multi-billion-dollar insurance companies. The next one is a universal life. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. It's based on his interest rates. It's kind of like a slow leaking tire. Sometimes it may last till you're 80. Sometimes it only lasts till you're 60. It's just based on the interest rates. Anyhow, the next one is accidental. Accidental is something that you usually get through your bank. The reason it's so cheap is it actually pays out less than term, which is pretty bad, right? The last one is whole life. Show them a picture of the whole life the policy example. This is the only one I can look you in the eye and guarantee. The reason I can say that to you is look right here. It says guaranteed, guaranteed, guaranteed. The amount that you pay per month, guaranteed. Okay? The amount that you get when you pass away, guaranteed all the way to 121 years old. Do you think you can do me a favor and die before 121? You can. I know I wouldn't want to live that old either. And it also builds cash value. So if you have this policy for 5 or 10 years and you maybe have a hard time and you need to get some extra money, this is going to have some extra money in there that you can access, okay? And then when you pass away, it'll be less that amount on your death benefit. Now, which one would you prefer? Would you rather have a guaranteed plan or non-guaranteed plan? Guaranteed, right? Me too. Perfect. Now, these are the heartstring questions right here, guys. I'm going to draw a little heart if I can. Okay? These are the heartstring questions. So this is where you go next. This section right here is mainly for policy review, and I'll go over that in a second. So, guys, make sure you watch all the way to the end of this video, because about 50% of your customers that you visit, they're going to say yes to this. Yes, I'm already taken care of. So you've got to be very, very strong at doing a policy review, and I have the best way to do a policy review that you're ever going to learn, okay, where you're going to be able to sell 99% of them. So make sure you stay on until the end of this call, and I'll show you how to do an effective policy review. Before we do that, so we're still going over if they don't have any insurance at all. Prescription, Social Security, senior benefits, I have nothing. I'm going to educate first, okay, before we do anything else. So educate them on the different types. Okay, we're obviously selling whole life to these people, so we're building up whole life as a guaranteed option. Okay, the reason we can legally say that, and you pointed out on the policy, it says guaranteed, guaranteed, guaranteed. Now, you talk to them about having a fixed price. Ms. Johnson, if you're going to be on a fixed income, don't you want to make sure your bills and your budget is fixed as well? I know my wife would, okay, and that's what I'm here to do for you, okay? Anyhow, you can blaze through this part if you would like, okay? I don't really do it necessarily unless they have insurance, okay? Because you always cover this section when they have insurance. So, going back, okay, these are the heartstrings right here. You sit back in your chair or in the couch or wherever you're at, and you kind of put your pen down, and you just kind of look at them and just kind of ask them, guys, who do you know that has passed away in the last 10 years? Maybe a family member, friend, uncle, cousin, neighbor. Do you know anybody in the last 10 years that's close to you that has died? Okay, and they almost always know somebody. Rarely at this age, when it's a 65-year-old, do they not know anybody that's passed away. Usually it's someone very close to them. And then I could have a conversation about that person that died. So say it's their uncle. It'll go something like this. Who do you know that's passed away in the last 10 years? Like a family member or friend? Do you guys know anybody that has actually passed away? Okay, your uncle. Really, how old was he? Really, my goodness, a stroke. Was it his first stroke? Oh, wow. Well, man, that's just unfortunate. I lost my cousin. He was 14 years old. Lost him to a heart attack. Both my grandparents are gone. Both my grandmas, excuse me, they're both passed. That's just never easy. I got to ask you, how did you guys handle that? I mean, how did you handle like the funeral and everything like that? Do you know how their family got by as far as paying for their funeral? Oh, he had some insurance? Oh, perfect. Oh, great. That's exactly why I'm here. I want to make sure your family is also set up that way. So regardless of their answer right here, guys, whether they say, yes, they were taken care of or no, your answer is basically the same. Yes, they had some insurance, or yes, they had it taken care of. Well, great. That's exactly why I'm here. I want to do the same thing for you. No, they had nothing. They wanted to do a funeral, but we had to do a cremation because that's all we could afford. Oh, man, that's hard. That's exactly why I'm here, is I want to make sure your family never goes through that again. Okay? And you're looking at them serious, and you're like, I'm going to make sure your family never goes through that again. And it's a serious look at them. Next question. Going here. Okay, now who do you want to be in charge of paying for and planning your funeral? If you were to die, next month, I know you're not going to, but if you were going to die next month, who would be left in charge of paying for it and planning your funeral? Your sister, cousin, anybody like that? Okay, it'd be your brother. Okay, older or younger brother? Older? Well, that's great. Does he live around here? Oh, perfect. Just across town. Now, do you get to see him very often? Just every once in a while? Well, that's cool. My family, we're kind of spread out all over the country. I got my sister here in Dallas, but one brother in Utah, one in California, one in North Carolina. My parents are in Nevada. We're kind of spread out, so we only get to see each other once a year, if that. So let me ask about your brother. What's his name? Okay, and I'll go with Sam. Always get a name. Okay. Notice, guys, I'm not just asking it the question as it has it right here. I'm not just drilling the person with a question. You still have to, again, this is the skeleton. You have to be the muscle and the heart, okay, and the flesh and the personality of the presentation. This is just kind of there to keep you on track. So I still had a conversation about her brother. I didn't just say, who do you want to be in charge of paying for and planning your funeral? Brother? Okay, brother. No, it's an actual conversation, okay, building rapport, okay. Sam, again, guys, never just write brother, sister, cousin. Get an actual first name. This is their why. Okay, this is why they sent the card in most likely. This is why they're going to spend $50 a month. Okay? All right, the next thing is what we have is a very unique program. No money needed today. All right? What we have to do is our carriers and these companies, we have to think about it first. Before you get a chance, we got to think about it. There's a lot of money on the line. Okay? So no money today. What I'm going to do, and this is where you start taking control. Okay? This presentation from here out is the complete assumption close. You're assuming this. So what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to go ahead and shop around. You like to shop around, right? You go to Walmart or you go to Kroger, wherever you go grocery shopping, you don't necessarily buy the most expensive organic milk from Golden Cows or anything like that. You just buy whatever you can afford. You like to shop. Me too. We're all the same way. That's what I'm going to do for you today. I'm going to shop around. We work with some of the top 20 carriers, all A-rated in the United States of America. So I'm going to shop around and make sure we get you the best prices possible, okay, from one of our carriers. Okay, another thing you got to keep in mind, there's a lot of things that you may need. Okay, let me stop right here. Understand that you are not going to these homes to sell funeral insurance. You are not going to these homes to sell life insurance. You're not going to these homes to sell final expense. You're going to these homes to sell a need. You're going to these homes to expose a need. So here's some needs that you're going to expose. There's funeral coverage, 10 grand, average funeral, boom. Final expense. There's a lot more that goes into someone passing away than just paying for their funeral. Life insurance, having extra money for extra bills and extra items. There's always things. You always buy life insurance for someone you love, okay, or someone you owe. Next one, income replacement. I'll explain this in a minute. Inheritance benefit. Ms. Johnson, how many grandbabies do you have? You have 5. How amazing would it be? Just dream with me here, Ms. Johnson. Just dream with me just for a second. Okay, you ready? How amazing would it be to leave each of those grandbabies $500? I'm not trying to make them rich. I'm not trying to make them like the Kardashians or anything. But how amazing would it be to leave them grandbabies $500? Wouldn't that just be awesome? And the last thing is a family plan. We also need to make sure, okay, we need to make sure that your family's protected as well. Grandbabies, cousins, brothers, sisters. I know that's not your responsibility, but before I leave the house, okay, we're going to figure out a way for me to go talk to them for you, okay? That's how you get more referrals. So we're collecting referrals there. That's what the smiley face is for. And we're collecting referrals right here for the prescriptions. There's 3 referrals every time. And here's anywhere from 5 to 10 referrals right here. Okay? Needs. So You're exposing the needs. Let me go ahead and explain income replacement. What I do is I flip this page over. Okay, this is the back side of the page. Here's the inheritance benefit program. I'm going to try to do this with my finger. Draw the same thing every time. Okay, first of all, when do you need to pitch income replacement in the home? Okay, 2 times. 1, husband and wife, both getting Social Security income. 2 incomes in the home. The other time, again, it's 2 incomes into the house. It could be widow, right? It could be the wife or the dad, and then he has his kids there. You know, an adult, his 40-year-old and his 40-year-old's wife living with their 3 kids also at the house. Or it could just be the widow with her 35-year-old son, and they both bring money into the home, and they both of their incomes coming in the house, they're still, okay, paycheck to paycheck. So with that being said, when one of them passes away, wouldn't you say that half of their income almost is going to disappear overnight? How many of you, as agents, right, can lose half the income overnight? Not a lot of people can, okay? So you're exposing the need. So I draw the same example every time. So if it's a husband and wife, I do Sally and Bob. If it's a wife and a family, 2 incomes, okay, coming into the house, I do Sally and family. I just write it right here. So I'm not asking for actual financials at this time, okay? So I do Sally and family if it's the family and Sally, the widow or whoever, bringing in the income. If it's, husband and wife, I just do Sally and Bob, something like that. What is a family? And I always use the same numbers. Okay, guys, so let's just pretend. Okay, let's say Sally's doing $700 a month Social Security and Bob is doing $1,000. Just whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but with Social Security income, when one of y'all passes away, you're not going to continue to get both of those incomes. Okay? What they're going to do is they're going to take away the smallest one. So say Bob's gone. Guys usually die first. I'm going to kill you off, Bob. All right? Immediately overnight, Sally isn't going to have $1,700 a month to live on. She's going to lose this and only have $1,000. $700 a month, guys. So let me ask you, can you guys afford right now to lose one of your incomes? You don't need to tell me how much it is, but can you two right now afford to lose one of your incomes if one of you were to pass away? Probably not. Not a lot of people can. Okay? So what we can do is we can help replace Sally's income or one of the incomes that you're going to lose by giving you an extra $8,400 of insurance at $700 a month. It'll last you the first year to help you make some lifestyle adjustments so you can get your budget to $1,000 a month. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, so that's income replacement. So moving forward, getting into the close a little bit. So first, there's two phases of the close. The first one, again, it's always assumptive, but the first one is pretty passive. Again, you don't want to make throw up a bunch of brick walls. It's pretty passive, and then it gets pretty, not aggressive, but it gets to the point of you're really confirming that this is something they're serious about, okay? So let me start it out. So again, there's no money today, Ms. Johnson. We have to think about it first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and submit this for underwriting. A few things we got to do. We got to look at your prescriptions, okay? That's how we're going to see if these companies are going to say yes or no to you. I'm going to go ahead and submit the application for review. You're going to pick a start date, and then I'll bring the policy back out to the house. So those are the 4 things that we need to do for you today. Again, I'm saying things like today, okay, and things like that. So being able to write. So talk to me, Ms. Johnson. Now this is where you start doing some underwriting. You need to do field underwriting so you don't submit the application to the wrong carrier. Okay? You make sure you're submitting it to the right carrier so you get paid quickly. What's going on? Talk to me about your health over the last several years. Anything wrong with your heart, liver, lungs, kidneys, cancer, diabetes in the last few years? You just have some high blood pressure? Okay? All right, let's go ahead and look at the prescriptions. Okay, so you take, okay, it looks like an amlodipine, get some high blood pressure. Looks like you also take a gabapentin. You got to know what these medications are for, okay? But from the start, what you're going to do is you're going to have your prescription guide, okay, supplied to you by your manager, or you can just get on your smartphone and download a prescription guide in the App Store, all right? And you can look up what these pills are for. Then based on what those pills are for will determine, okay, where you put them in the product. So anything wrong, okay, what are you taking this for? Okay, is it for just high blood pressure? Have you had congestive heart failure? You're just asking questions to find out where to fit them. All right, perfect. Then what we're going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and submit this to the carrier. They have to take a look at it. Again, it's a lot of money on the line. They need to look at it. If they say no to you, Ms. Johnson, okay, don't be upset. It happens. Okay? People get declined every single day. But I'll come back out to the house and we'll find something that's going to fit. All right? Once we find something that fits, okay, you're going to pick a day sometime next month. Again, no money up front. I have to do some work for you first. We'll get you approved, and I'll bring the policy back out to the house. Okay? Most important thing, and it's something you say several times, guys, the most important thing we do is get something. Period. Before I leave this house, Ms. Johnson, we have to, absolutely have to make sure that we get something to cover Sam. Okay? Because what happened to your uncle, okay, when he died and he wasn't properly covered, we're not going to allow that to happen again to Sam, okay? So again, the most important thing we do is we're going to get something, no matter what, okay? We have to make sure Sam's covered. But at the same time, it's got to be affordable. We've got to be sure it's affordable, okay? Let me go ahead and run some prices for you real fast, okay? So how things been going? Okay, what do you think about those Cowboys? Perfect, great. I'm going to run prices, something around $1 a day. Say it's 7,000. These are just pure examples, guys. You're going to run rates through your rate chart or on your phone. These are just pure examples to get through this. Something around 50. That's 50, by the way. Something around 70-ish. That's kind of what I do. Then, before I show them the prices, their options, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them again. All right, before I show you these prices, again, most important thing, we got to get something for Sam. We got to cover Sam to make sure that when you pass away, he's not paying for stuff. It's not his responsibility, that's ours, okay? But at the same time, it's got to be affordable. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. Slide the paper over to them, let them look at the prices. Which one can you do? Now, if they pick the middle, okay, now that's $57 a month. Is that something that you're comfortable with? Or would you like to look at something around $55? So you're going to always come down in price. You're going to offer to come down in price, but not by a lot. And then you're going to quote them $500 less. It's just the idea of coming down in price that makes you look like less of a salesperson. Now, here's a tip. If they pick the lowest one, quote them something at 25 or 20, because they may think that 30 is the cheapest one, but they really can't afford it. If they pick the most expensive one, quote them something $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 more than that. They may think $12,000 or this number is the most expensive plan or the biggest plan you offer, but really they pick the $70, but they can afford $350. Okay? So if they pick the bottom, go low. If they pick the top, the highest, go high. Okay? Makes sense. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and then once that happens, guys, once they pick a number, okay, I always say to them something like, that's great. Sam will be happy with that. We'll make sure you're taken care of. You're going to sleep better, okay? But understand that this is something that is a monthly commitment. This is a gift that's going to keep giving after you're gone. It's going to provide. When's the last time you've given a $10,000 gift to somebody? Okay? Probably not very often, okay? But what we're going to do is you have to commit to this every single month. All right? Again, nothing starts today. We won't start until next month. But understand, but for you to provide like this, something this big for Sam, it's going to take some commitment from you. Okay? Do you understand why we're doing this? Okay, perfect. So you still have to, you kind of do a passive close by saying carriers have to think about it. All we're doing is 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to get something today, but at the same time, you really kind of crunch down, hey, you're going to pay this amount. Whether you like it or not, you're paying this amount, okay? So with that being said, you're really just kind of building some, importance on, hey, you got to pay for this, you got to get it. It's very crucial. You've built, you expose the heartstrings, you expose some things that they're afraid of. Now they know, hey, I've really got to get something. So let's go through policy review, guys. Again, this is something that's very, very important. Go ahead and erase this real fast. Not trying to erase it. Anyhow, something that's very important. You've got to be good at policy review. Okay? And if you do it the correct way, in the correct order, you will have no problems. First thing, always call your manager. All right? You should have your manager's cell phone number on speed dial. There's someone that you should talk to almost every single day. You should be having a conversation with your manager. Hopefully, you're calling them while you're in the home. Okay? Let's go ahead and get back over to the pen. So you go through the introduction. Okay, you're here. You go through this, go through this. How much do you pay for your life insurance? I don't know. I think I'm paying such and such, or I'm already taken care of. I don't need any of that, or I got too much insurance. Whatever they say doesn't matter. Your response is perfect. Great, Miss Johnson. That's fantastic. Okay? Doesn't matter what they say. I'm not interested in that. If they're completely rude, I'm not interested in that. I don't need it. I got plenty of it. Perfect. Great. Most of the people I sit down with, they already have something as well. Okay? That's your response every single time. I think I'm paying $30. I don't know exactly what it is. Great. Perfect. Most of the people I sit down with, they already have something in place. This is how you get the policy. This is very, very important, guys. Make sure you write this down. Make sure you ask for the policy like this 100% of the time. Otherwise, you'll get sold. Okay? They're going to sell you on why they can't get their policy for you. So you have to do it like this. You have to put them kind of in a corner before you ask them. So perfect. Most of the people I sit down with on a daily basis, they usually have something too. So that's just great. I'm glad you took the time to do that. Okay. At the same time, most of them actually put their policy. They keep it somewhere safe, like a filing cabinet, dresser drawer, maybe underneath their bed. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that little policy. It's like a small booklet. Yeah. They usually keep it somewhere safe. Where do you keep yours? Oh, do you? Perfect. Go grab it for me real fast. I just have to show you a couple things. Head down. Okay. Start scribbling on your paper. Start doodling on your paper. Put your head down and tell them to go get their policy. Okay. What you're doing is you get them to commit to where it is first, and then you tell them to go get it. Otherwise, if you just say go get your policy, they may make up some big old story about where it's at. It's at my cousin's house in Maryland. No, it's not. It's in your bedroom. Okay. So put them kind of in a corner first, then get it. Great. They go get their policy. Here's the next step that's very, very important. You cannot miss this. They go get their policy. They bring it back. Once they hand it to you, you grab it and you set it to the other side of the table like you just don't care about it. Completely ignore the policy. Why? We review first, or educate first, review second. Educate, review. Educate, review. So if they come out and they start reading it off to you, I'll take that. Don't worry about it. That's what I do for a living. Grab it from them. Other side of the table, other side of the coffee table, other side of the couch. Doesn't matter. You don't care about it. Perfect. The next thing I'm going to do is Insurance 101. What I want to do is I want to educate you on the different programs that you're available. Did you recognize the similarities? Basically, you're doing the same thing that we did just before. You're going through term insurance, the exact same. Then you go through this. This is where the sell is done right here. Now, 82% of people are unprepared, Ms. Johnson. The number one problem that I have today, the number one issue that we're having here in the United States or in Texas or wherever you're at, the number one issue is increasing price term policy through Globe, AARP, Physicians Mutual, Colonial Penn. That's the biggest threat that we're having today. How these policies work, you scroll down here or you flip to the back page, is they work just like this. What they do is they promise you this big amount, $20,000, $50,000 of insurance for dirt cheap. Okay? The problem is it stops. Eventually it stops. All right. Maybe it's 80, maybe it's 90. Again, remember the paper that you show these people, guys. Remember you show them the example of the term policy where it says it goes to 95, but at 75 the price goes from $80 a month to $1,800. You show them that. So you still do this every time before you do this. But what you do is you go down here. But then they have it end at like 80 years old, maybe 90. Doesn't matter. I'm not necessarily worried about you dying before or after 80 or 90. What I'm concerned about is them having you at such a low price, and then every 5th year that price goes up. Okay, so yeah, it's super cheap now, but what I'm very, very scared about is that this is your income right here, Miss Johnson. Okay, if you're at this income level, and eventually that price gets so high that you have to cancel it, I don't want you to be without insurance when you turn 77, 75, 80, whatever the age is. I don't want you to have to lose your insurance, just like this guy. Show him the example of the term policy again. Does that make sense? Great. The next problem is no insurance at all. That's not you. You were smart enough to get something good for you. Okay? The other big issue we're having, this may be number 2, the second biggest issue we're having, Miss Johnson, is folks that are just wasting they're just paying too much. You know? You like to shop around, right? You like to make sure you get the best deal. Okay? What's something you like? What's something you buy every week? Okay? You buy orange juice every week? Okay. Well, if you go to the store and there's orange juice, okay, you got one orange juice container, okay, they're both basically the same thing on the inside. One is $1 and one is $15. What you gonna buy? You're gonna try to save the money. Even if it's only $14 that you're saving, you're gonna try to save some money. So no matter what, okay, we gotta save you money. If I were to show up on your doorstep on the first day of each month, Miss Johnson, and hand you a $5 or $10 bill, would you take it from me? No strings attached. I just show up on your door, I knock, I say, I hold out $10, you grab it, I turn away, walk away, and that's it. Would you take it? Absolutely. Okay, because if you're on a fixed income, and eventually you're going to be on a fixed income, you got to save as much money as possible. Okay, some of the companies that charge way too much is Lincoln Heritage, Reliable, Bankers Life, American National. These are all fantastic companies. Okay, great companies. I'm sure they have great owners. But again, you want to make sure you're getting the best deal possible, right? You like to shop around. I'm the same way. The other issue is not enough pre-need insurance, trying to save money. Work policies are great, but they stop when you stop working. And a weak policy, like a accidental policy through your bank or a flexible universal life policy, these are no good. But again, like you said up here, you want to make sure you have the guaranteed plan, right? Okay, let's go ahead and look at what you have right now. So what I did right there, guys, I very gently went through this, educated them, so now they know the difference between whole life and term. And then I went through it right here, exposed what the industry is doing right now. So guess what you think is going to happen when I open up their policy and it's AARP? It's Lincoln Heritage. It's Globe. It's Physicians Mutual. What do you think they're going to say after I just went through this and they agreed with me on everything? Because they always do. I open up their policy and it's a term. Physicians Mutual. It's Lincoln Heritage and it's $15 more a month than what I have. What do you think they're going to want to do? Okay? Educate first, review second. Educate, review. Okay? Once you expose what they currently have, all right, there are several options, obviously, but it really comes down to negotiating the price. But please spend some time. If you want to maximize how much money you're going to earn this year, this week, this month, spend some time, okay, on the training website. Please go to Academy 201, okay, and go to Policy Review. It's in Academy 201. Study Policy Review. There's 7 different reasons, okay, or potential reasons you need to replace or add coverage. So you need to know all 7 reasons before you go out in the field. You got to know what's going on. But again, always call your manager. Your manager is paid to answer their phone. So, guys, that's basically it. Please call your manager more often. But you can print this presentation layout right here. You can print this exact paper off below this video. If I were you, I'd print off 10 or 15 of them and, practice this thing. But I'm telling you, I don't know how many agents I've trained with this thing that have become top producers, and a lot of them still use this paper today, even though they have it memorized and been using it for 3 years. And they have it memorized, but they still use it in every home. This thing works. Okay? If you have questions, please call me and see what we can do to help you out moving forward. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us.